What's up, guys? I just want to make an announcement that I'm super excited about, and that is a research and ethics board that we've been working hard as a team to pull together for inTruth. And I want to explain. I've got a bit of who they are in a little bit, and I want to give a shout out to all of them because they are truly world leaders in what they do. And we're so blessed as a team to have such incredible minds helping guide the ethical considerations around what we're developing. But for a second, I just want to speak more broadly about biotech and medtech and AI as industries now birthing new category leadership. Obviously, for us, category leadership is in emotion AI. We believe we have about a 4 year moat against any other company that's building what we've built. That we are going to be the first to actually standardize emotion through an ELM, an emotion language model. So thank you to my amazing team who have made this possible over the past few years. It's been a huge amount of hard work, and also every participant that's actually been a part of some of our experiments because you've helped build this data set that's brought inTruth to life. But one of the things that I notice often in the startup space and also in the investment space, specifically like impact investment, where I think that there's big potential for impact investors to take very strong ethical stance on some of the just components and ethical considerations when it comes to technological development and the way that we design features, the way that we put forward products, and how that's going to be socialized in the world. Impact investors, to me, like, are very clearly the ones that have a values alignment to inTruth on building a world that is supportive of organic life and human flourishing. But I notice very often that investors sometimes don't know how to do the deeper due diligence on companies like inTruth. And what that means is there's a conservative approach often in making some of these investment decisions. And I've said this in keynotes consistently the past 12 months, that money has got to move in the right direction over the next several months and several years and beyond, because if we don't get this right, we're going to be tied to systems that are biased, that have not been thought through in terms of their true impact on human beings. And one of the things that my team and I talk about a lot is there's really going to be a seismic decision that each of us have to make as just consumers, whether we want to move towards more of a transhumanist future where we're actually merging completely with AI, merging our consciousness with AI, or if we're going to support companies that actually have used technology as a bridge to amplify human intelligence, which is where I would say inTruth is focused and inTruth sits. We're using technology to reflect back innate human intelligence rather than supplement human intelligence. And this is a very important distinction that I want to see exist more in our spaces, because this data is hyper sensitive data. Not enough companies are talking about how that data ownership can sit in the hands of the individual. These are complex problems to solve for a multitude of different reasons, but they're possible problems to solve. It needs financial backing, it needs industry support, and it needs minds, intelligent minds asking the right questions. And so the research and ethics board that we've put together to serve our development and inTruth, one of the things I'm committed to is actually building a content flywheel that then publishes some of the deeply complex questions we're asking and how we go about addressing some of these problems, and making that public so that you guys, as our audience, as our followers, as our supporters, maybe even our competitors or our enemies, we want you to be able to use this and consider some of these frameworks in the way that you design and you develop, because this is bigger than any of us individually. This is bigger than any of our individual startups. This is about the future of what it means to be human. And so I just want to thank the 5 incredible people that have said yes to sitting on our research and ethics board. So we have Dr. Esther Elliott, who's a regulatory expert. She's been dedicated to translating research into clinical practice, specifically by supporting pharmaceutical and medical device technologies to gain market access. Extensive experience in supporting medtech companies to successfully achieve FDA and TGA approval. So having you on our research and ethics board, Dr. Elliott, obviously is a huge gift. This is something that we want to go after in the coming years. We want to be positioned as a software, as a medical device. And what that will mean for inTruth is that we can actually have inTruth eventually become something that's diagnostic and to truly acknowledge and understand emotion's role in disease development, which to me is like a dream come true, something I've always known, but we're actually going to be able to prove that with data. We've got Professor Stug, who's a neuroscientist. He runs and founds a company called Aristotle, and Aristotle is focused on building emotionally intelligent schools, which we obviously absolutely love. And there's a powerful pathway of collaboration there where Professor Khan really believes that inTruth, used in the right context with the right ethical kind of considerations within the education environment, could improve the well-being of students and the efficacy of learning in such a major way. So Professor Khan is a cognitive neuroscientist, and he is a professor at Swinburne University. He's the director of the director of the Swinburne Center of Neuropsychology and the director of a newly formed National Institute of Complementary Medicine Collaborative Center, which is incredible work. We also have Dr. Gallery, who is the head of Human Centered Computing Research Group. Dr. Gallery Mohammadi is a massive win in my books. We're so grateful for your willingness to work with us. So UNSW, where she works, they're actually one of the leaders in effective computing for emotion mapping. And what's so brilliant about that is, basically inTruth is commercializing what they're researching and what they're building inside their research labs through effective computing. So together, I feel like this is an unstoppable force. And other notable things about Dr. Gallery, she is the associate head of school at the School of Computer Science and Engineering as well. And her research sits in the intersection of human computer interaction, artificial intelligence, and computational psychology. So, very specialized fields that, again, are very, very complementary. Then we have Dr. Geraldine Hamilton. She was the CSO at Emulet. She's a PhD in biology, and we love that. We've had very deep conversations with Dr. Geraldine about protecting human biology, protecting human physiology, and the ethics that sit around this. Was a very, very deep sort of part of her work. Prior to joining Emulet's founding team, she served as the lead senior staff scientist at the Weiss Institute of Biology-Inspired Engineering at Harvard University. And again, just a really brilliant asset. And then lastly, we have Marqueza Finch, who's the co-founder of Imperium. She also sits as one of the heads of the Blockchain Society, so is very focused on decentralization, diversity, and challenging the biases within artificial intelligence, specifically in investment. Imperium is a marketplace where non-accredited and accredited investors can buy fractionalized securities and assets. So very focused on how we build different funding sources into the future and democratize wealth and power. Has also done deep work in building kind of ethical frameworks in some of her other positions. So I feel incredibly blessed to have the support of all 5 of these advisors. I'm also building a company advisory board. At the moment, we have confirmed Levent Shevki, the CEO of Cornwall's Law, a serial entrepreneur himself, one of the just most brightest entrepreneurial minds you've ever met. He also sits on the IC of one of the funds that backs inTruth. So a big thank you to you, Lev. Dr. Olivia Lessler, who's a medical doctor. She specializes in basically the psychological and physiological components of disease. Works with very acute cases. You'll go to Dr. Olivia basically if every other doctor was not able to help you. She's the miracle worker that can. She's got a list of accolades that would be I'd be here for 2 hours if I tried to read them all. But she was notably worked with the Singulum Health Center, which was founded by neurosurgeon Professor Charlie Teo. He's one of the sort of the most esteemed neurosurgeons in the world. Dr. Olivia worked very closely with him at the beginnings of Singulum, which are friends of ours in Australia. Dr. Jan Owen AM. This is a very special one to me. Jan's a very renowned nonprofit leader. She was my mentor when I was 18 years old. So for her to be joining our advisory board just means the world. Has incredible ideas basically around how we can separate out some of the data ownership of the ELM into a research foundation and make sure that, our research objectives are not hindered by the commercial imperatives of inTruth, which to me is extremely important. Jen was appointed as Executive Director of Social Ventures in Australia. It was one of the first movements and companies basically to bring venture capital models to the non-government sector in Australia. Jan's always been very driven by social impact, social change, and basically driving policy change, which was a big part of why she was such an inspiration to me as basically, a very, very young entrepreneur. So thank you, Jan. And lastly, we have Jane Bianchini, who is an exited founder, a private equity exit in New York, but an Aussie founder, a solo female Aussie founder, so a massive inspiration. 20 years experience in the IT, HR, and recruitment industry, and was the founder and CEO of Acclamy Interactive, which was successfully acquired by Criteria Corp. Through her career, Jane has held senior executive positions across both large public and small private companies. So again, someone that has walked the path, done the journey themselves, and will be joining us in an advisory capacity. So I feel like we have an absolute kick-ass superpower team of advisors that are going to be driving our success the next 12 months. And I just wanted to take a moment to basically say thank you to each of you. I know that your time is so valuable, and to see our vision and want to help us bring that to life really means the world.